the Supplier University for the City of Tallahassee, Leon County, and the Blueprint Intergovernmental Agency. Thank you.
Yes, so thank you so much.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hey there.
Just curiously, how many of you here are certified either with the Office of Economic Vitality or the Office? Oh.
There you go. Yep.
Hi. Wow, I was slim.
That's the goal.
I like that camera. I'm taking that with me. How many of you are certified with the Office of Economic Vitality or the Office of Supplier Diversity? Ms. Galasco. So let me tell you what it is we do. On behalf of commissioners like Curtis Richardson, both from the city and the county commission, and then them combined as a Blueprint Intergovernmental Agency, it is our job, mine and LaTanya Rafferton, our Senior Supplier Diversity Manager, and our ninth graduate fellow, Alex Valdez, to do everything we can to optimize opportunity for you all to do business with the city, the county, and Blueprint. Certifying with our office helps you to be show yourself available for subcontracting opportunities, particularly with construction projects and professional services. Then, as you can imagine, the government has a whole lot of professional needs. And when you're certified with us, that puts you in the loop to be informed when those competitive opportunities are made available. Then it is also our job to provide the type of capacity building, instruction, and linkages and networking opportunities with partners like Barbara here to make sure that we're giving you every opportunity to grow and expand your business. We are devoted to helping you to grow your business so that you can create more jobs in our local economy. I must admit, and I have to acknowledge Mr. Richardson here. Commissioner Richardson is one of those commissioners who holds our community accountable, both large businesses, smaller businesses, to do everything that we can to make certain that minority and women-owned businesses in our local economy have every opportunity to do business with the city and the county. Finally, if I may, boss, I'm also the chairman of the Leon County School Board, and Curtis Richardson was the first African-American male to serve on the Leon County School Board. So I'm always delighted to be here with my predecessor, and I know he joins me in excitement about trades work.
Yes.
One of the most important things that we talk about at both the city, the county, the Blueprint Intergovernmental Agency, as well as at the Leon County School Board, and that is creating pathways for our young people to go into career and technical opportunities that are made available in this local community. We realize that it is our responsibility at the school district to work with trades work, which we're going to do it following today, to work with trades work to optimize that connection where so many of our children who, when they walk across the stage at graduation, when asked, what are you doing next? They shrug their shoulders. Well, with organizations like trades work, we can help to facilitate creating the pathways for our young people, starting as early as the 8th grade, for them to see construction trades as viable career options. In our construction trades, people are making better than a livable wage. And if they take advantage of the opportunities and resources that we have at Lively Vocational Technical College, it prepares them to meet the rigors and responsibilities of adulthood. And so we look forward to collaborating further. Barbara has been a partner of OEB since our founding, from the very beginning. We have worked with Barbara Westcott, and we're happy to be the sponsor today. And I just want to let all of you know my colleagues will remain. I've got to go get my truck fixed, so I can't stay with you, but I did eat first. But thank you so very much. LaTanya's here, and so is Alex Valdez. LaTanya Rafferty and Alex Valdez are here to answer any questions. And please certify your firms with us. I promise you, no matter what type of business you have, there can be opportunity made available for you, if not for procurement opportunities, for the capacity building instruction that we provide. One last thing, and I got to say this, and I know I'm not the keynote. It was Commissioner Richardson and other commissioners who made available microloan money. Access to capital, we know, is one of the biggest challenges for our minority and women-owned businesses. they were able to then take federal dollars and make them available to the FAMU Federal Credit Union. The FAMU Federal Credit Union, we have microloan monies available for businesses like you. It does not require that you be certified. The only thing it requires is that you live in the full county market area, Leon, Gadsden, Wakulla, and Jefferson. To qualify for those funds, the max amount that is given is up to $50,000. The best terms of credit score starts as low as 540. It is our intent to be able to help our businesses, particularly by virtue of their leadership, minority and women-owned businesses, to take advantage of those funds so that you can build capacity and be your best and most competitive selves. All right? Thank you all for having me.
All right, well, let's just scoot in here a little bit. Let's bring it on and bring it closer to Mara. Let's just go ahead and sort of welcome everybody and get us started.
Yes, everyone. Hello. Thank you for coming here today once again for Women Wednesdays. Thank you to Railroad Square Craft House for hosting us once again. Everyone is having a delightful lunch. So if you're not here in person, you missed out this time. But come on to the next one. My name is Tamara Smith. I am the Regional Director of Partnerships for an awesome nonprofit called One More Child. And we are on a mission to support vulnerable children and struggling families. So just earlier this fall, we were on a mission to raise 1 million meals. We surpassed that mission, and now we're on a mission. Now we're on a mission to raise 1 million diapers. So whenever you come over to Women Wednesdays, you can bring a pack of diapers and help us in that mission. We're getting up there, but we're not quite there yet. We're trying to do it before Thanksgiving. So if you would like, you can go ahead and send those in. And if you're online and you want to contribute, you can go to onemorechild.org/diapers, or you can just find me and ask me how to get involved. You can have them drop shipped to our locations as well that are all throughout the state and all throughout the world. So join us on that mission. I wanted to do that shameless plug. But we are here today. We are here today to hear from some dynamic speakers. And I'm going to go ahead and let me make sure everyone on here, if you're not a member of Women Wednesdays, or if you don't know how to find out more information about us, you can go to womenwednesdays.com. If you're looking on Facebook, we're right there. Just find us, follow us, share this video, and share all the information that will be shared today.
All right, well, super. All right, thank you so much, Tamara. So again, I just want to say my name is Barbara Westcott. I'm the founder of Women Wednesday. So what is Women Wednesday? Yay! So look, we are totally and fully all about creating a collaborative community of women who help each other succeed. So we have a ton of programs, a ton of community campaigns, but it's all about women's success. So we're so glad that you're here today because we're going to have a really important discussion. So before we get started, I just want to introduce our team. We just met Tamara, but we have Robin here. She's our membership coordinator. So can you say a quick hello, Robin?
Hi, I'm Robin Bateman, and I am outside of Women Wednesdays. I'm with AdMax and wHERk Magazine. So if you're looking for a solution to reach people in Tallahassee, our market reach is 90,000 homes. As far as the membership goes for Women Wednesdays, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. My email address is members@womenwednesdays.com.
And so then, of course, we have Jackie, who is our brand new campaign coordinator for Her Businesses in Blue.
And that's shiny.
It's still shiny. It's all about promoting and supporting women-owned business. So Jackie, take it away.
My name is Jackie Brown, and I'm excited to promote businesses that are blooming here in town. If you want to be a part of that, simply email us at, what is the new email that you created?
No, it's Bloom. Yeah,
Bloom at womenwednesdays.com.
I knew you would have done that.
Yes. Somebody's in the first email, so it's shall be good.
Because again, who are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs?
Minority women.
And women in general. So
Yes.
we'll be talking about
especially
that.
those of a certain age, which is the best age. Yes. Anyway, I would love to connect with you, or if you know someone who wants to have their business promoted through our amazing network, get in touch with me, and we'll either go to their shop, meet them somewhere, do a quick little interview, and give them some social media presence, which would be great.
All right, well, excellent. Well, when Daryl was here, he was talking about, he mentioned Lively, but there's also an incredible organization. When you think of training for, well, let me stop, let me back up a little bit. I made a little mistake, let me back up. The other part of our team, before I finish my team, an incredible new team member we have with Women Wednesdays is Corinne Jones-Wilson, who is the head of trades work. But she's also a general contractor right here in our community for Jones Construction and Design. So I want her to say hello and let us welcome her.
Thank you all for coming. My name is Corinne Jones Wilson. I'm a contractor here. I am a Florida certified master builder in Florida. And I own Jones Construction and Design. I'm a custom residential builder. I am the new campaign coordinator for trades work. So my job, I think, is to try to encourage women and young ladies into our construction industry. You may not think that we're important, but we do the most important things. I mean, we are the most detailed. I mean, we make so many, I think, better productions than guys.
Say
Okay.
Say so.
But we do so much more detailed work, and our work is just so much better. So I want to encourage ladies to always stay in the construction field and encourage, like my daughter is over at the table, to stay in construction. They're alive. I'm in TCC right now. So I guess my job is just to promote construction industry, promote women in construction, and be here if you need me. So that's awesome.
Well, I have the pleasure of starting to introduce our speakers for today.
Well, let me just go back, so I apologize. So next I wanted to introduce Jessica Griffin, because she's here, we're talking about places of opportunity, we're saying that the trade, the skilled trades, construction, incredible fields of opportunity, high paying jobs, massive shortages. I mean, talk about an incredible time for women to either get into the skilled trades or to get into business. But Jessica's here with us from TCC Workforce Development. So Jessica, can we hear a little bit from you?
Good afternoon. No, is it afternoon? Yeah, it is 12:01. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Jessica Griffin. I am the Director of Continuing Workforce Education within TCC's Division of Workforce Development. So one of the main focuses that we have in WD, as we like to call it, is focusing on enhancing the skills and careers of individuals who come into our program. And one of the things that we, not too long ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, we branded something that's called TCC to Work. TCC to Work basically highlights the fact that TCC has over 70 programs, career and technical programs, that basically get individuals trained, certified, and going straight into work. And so having females in our programs are one of the biggest things that we love to see. In the state of Florida, with all the educational institutions, Lively, and other schools within our area, they focus on non-traditional, the success of non-traditional students. And really, when it comes to trades, women are those non-traditional students. And so at TCC, we like to make sure that we put a lot of things in place to ensure that our female students are successful, as well as want to come into our program. So we put emphasis on recruitment, making sure that our materials and content represent females in those trades. We put emphasis on collaborations and partnerships with our other educational providers in the city and with different organizations in the community. And then we look at actual events that we host. One of the things that we have done in the past and we're getting ready to do again is opportunity, where we're focusing on women in trade. And also doing events like we not too long ago partnered with the Girl Scouts of America. We held a Trucks Off for Girls event where they actually had other female truckers there. They had other females in the industry and different things to that nature. So we want to make sure that we're doing everything holistically when it comes to our female students being wanting to come in the industry and then making sure that they're successful through training and then once they get employment.
Excellent. Wonderful. It's so great for TCC and Library, to create these incredible opportunities. So if I can just shift people around a little bit. So we have a very special guest here who's going to be introduced by Mr. Curtis Richardson. So if the secretary, might be everybody seated. Madam Secretary, please come up here, come in the center. And you get right over there too. You stay there. So I want to say, when I think about someone who's passionate about women in business, women in the skill trades, I truly, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, can't think of anybody more passionate and really has A, been with Women Wednesdays from the beginning, but B, just has been a constant voice for increasing opportunity, particularly in the skill trades. I mean, this is low hanging fruit. This is a no-brainer. There is so much incredible opportunity for women in the skill trades or business. And I just thank you so much for you're here. You're going to, say a few words if you want to, but then you're going to introduce our very special secretary.
Honorable
Okay.
Secretary.
That's right.
I know what you said.
Well, I know you guys are probably sitting there thinking, what is that guy doing here? But as Barbara said, I've been attending Women Wednesday for a while now. And a lot of what we're doing now with TradeWorks came out of that and conversations that Barbara and I had. And I'll talk to you about the connection with Lively because that's where I finished my professional career. But I'm also the proud dad of 2 daughters, one of which just graduated from the United States Naval Academy. But they both followed their dad on the Leon County School Board. They both have served. My youngest daughter is currently serving. My oldest daughter served as the student representative on the Leon County School Board. And so we've tried to, my wife and I, who's an attorney, secretary and judge now, also, provide them with all the options available for women in the professions and the trades. So how did I get involved? A guy with 3 college degrees. Well, I finished my professional career before retirement as the community relations coordinator at Lively Technical College under the direction of Shelley Bell. And I can tell you, I was so impressed by what I saw because I had not had that kind of direct, I was a school psychologist by training. My background is in education. That direct contact with the skilled trades in that respect and what they offered young people and the opportunities that were available. We had students coming out of the welding program, for instance, that could start anywhere from $75,000 to $100,000 a year. Welding. The women in the cosmetology program would tell me that a cosmetologist could make $35, $40 an hour. And I know y'all know, because I know with 2 daughters, what getting their hair cost me. $150 to get my daughter's hair braided. Yeah. And so, as Barbara mentioned, I now am one of, even that now that I've retired and left Lively, am one of the community's biggest cheerleaders for career and technical education for our young people. Because what I would find when I would go out into the schools, most of the kids had no idea what they were going to do even a month before graduation. A few would already have applied for college or university, a few would be going into the military, but the vast majority would tell me, well, I don't know. I haven't made a decision. And they had not heard about Lively and TCC and all of the options and opportunities available to them in that route, because as you all know, we're all told you gotta go to college and get a college degree, and now they're coming out thousands of dollars in debt and still can't find a job with their degree in sociology. I don't tell anybody I disparage people with a degree in sociology, because I got one in psychology. But there are tremendous opportunities, as I mentioned. And so Barbara and I had the discussion about doing more to promote these opportunities among women. And we had about 2 years ago, I guess it was, we had a panel discussion at Lively, and it took off from there. And here we are today. And
We're not going to stop.
No, not at all.
We're a pound away from this. Hammer away.
Exactly. And so it is my honor and opportunity to introduce our speaker for the afternoon, Secretary Melanie Griffin, who is the Secretary of the Department of Business and Professional Regulation for the state of Florida. She has a long and distinguished and recognized career in the legal profession, but also in public service and government in a number of different capacities. I'm going to read to you just a little of her background so you can get an indication of what she brings, not only to the position as secretary, but the legal profession generally and to our community. Secretary Melanie Griffin serves as the Secretary of the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation, appointed by Governor Ron DeSantis to head the agency beginning in January of 2022. Secretary Griffin leads Florida's regulation of more than 1.6 million licensees across more than 30 fields of industry. In 2019, Secretary Griffin joined, and this is her legal background, Shoemaker, Luke, and Kendrick, an Am Law 200 firm that is the largest law firm in Tampa Bay, as an of-counsel attorney, and Shoemaker Advisors as senior advisor, business-to-business relationships. That's her legal background, as well as her training and other legal positions that she's held. And she's a proud Floridian. Secretary Griffin is a triple graduate of Florida State University. Go Noles. Although I'm there with the graduates. She has a degree in business finance and MBA and her law degree from Florida State University Law School. During graduate school, Secretary Griffin served the state of Florida as a two-time Department of Business and Professional Regulation law clerk, and as a Business Regulation Committee Fellow in the Florida House of Representatives Fellows Program. Her undergraduate studies were concluded as a research assistant in the British Parliament House of Commons. That's impressive.
Thank you.
Beyond her business and legal career, Secretary Griffin has been a small business owner, creating Spread Your Sunshine in 2017. So she knows where you old ladies are as business owners or potential business owners. Secretary Griffin is happiest, although she's got all of these accomplishments and loves what she does, she's happiest when she is building up those around her, including her husband, Mike, son, Maverick, and their golden lab, Molly. We can't forget Molly.
No, we cannot.
So with that, I want to introduce our speaker for the afternoon, the Honorable Secretary Melanie Griffin.
Hey, so with that, before we just get started, we're gonna let people take their seats. So I want to thank you,
Okay.
Commissioner Richardson, if you, and so if you don't mind, I would like you to sit right there.
Okay.
And then we're gonna get Kerwin, who is our, you can stay up there. Oh, you can stay right there. And then Jack over here, so this way we have the secretary, we have our leaders of trades work and moving. So tomorrow, we're gonna take the lead and we'll get going with the secretary.
Sure. Well, we want to start with, because we always want to know more about you. But we want to know more about you, Secretary Griffin, and your leadership of DVPR.
So is this a good segue into mentorship? And first, thank you for the introduction, which when he said, do I know who they are? And so tying the background of having worked in government in undergrad and grad school, I have watched, then Representative Richardson's glorious career, as well as Lynette Ashafari Richardson's, now Judge Richardson's career, and then basically a president of your fan club. And so actually be here on the same stage with you, it's just amazing. And so with that, one of the reasons that I have had this opportunity to serve in this role is about a year and a half ago, a good friend of mine who had also served as secretary of one of the agencies called and said, I think you would be great at this leadership opportunity. And if you're okay with it, let me talk to you about what that opportunity looks like. And if you're interested over a series of conversations in pursuing it, then how you would actually go about securing that position. And what a gift, because previous to that call, I don't know that I would have seen myself in this role, even though I had such an interest in public service and wanted to be more of a public servant. I think it takes someone who really identifies that skill set in you to lift you up with their dominant hand and say, hey, here's the path. And so I love the fact that you all are working together with mentorship and the idea of For those of you who are established, amazing. And for those of you who are up and coming, how can you be lifted up by this group to see that path? Because you hit on this earlier in your remarks, is that, and I've seen it firsthand with my own family, is that fortunately or unfortunately, so many of our young students who would be amazing in the skilled trades are really made to feel like there's only one path and to college, and that's unfortunate. My family has a 4th generation farm in Illinois, and one of my cousins in particular, who now works in the farm, that was always his passion. He always was great with machinery, with the farm, with livestock, and basically begged for that to be his full-time career, and yet was pushed to go to college, went for a year, failed out freshman year, and he's a sharp cookie. It was not lack of talent, it was a misalignment of skill set. And so then once he came back and was allowed to work on the farm, I have no doubt he will be the future owner once my uncle decides to transition it to him, and it'll keep going and be a 5th generation eventually to his children or others in the family. But wow, there's so much potential to impact the world in ways well beyond your traditional path, or what is perceived as a traditional path of going to college. And we certainly see that department where we license over 30 industries. We are working our way very quickly up to 2 million licensees, and work every day with people in the air conditioning, plumbing, et cetera, industry, and see what they are able to contribute to the economy and businesses. And I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize we have Megan Kacher in the background if you want to give a wave. And we'll give her a round of applause. But Megan is our Deputy Director of our professions team, which is over all of those skilled trades. And it was really important to us to have a woman counterpart on that team, because we are seeing so much crossover of women and how they're up and coming in that industry.
And I have a fan.
You right, love?
My question, Secretary Griffin. What should we know about the overall state of construction and with women in construction?
So if you'll indulge me, I did bring some printed materials on this, and so I'm going to go ahead and read for them to make sure I get this right. So you all are not unaware that certainly the construction industry, like many industries, are male dominated. You know, I grew up in the legal industry, just like Judge Richardson, and learned that, you know, even there, while we dominate 50% of the classroom now, once you get to up to 7 years post-graduation, even that sector fluctuates between 16 and 18%, quote unquote, on a good day, and more recently has trended downwards. And so you see a lot of efforts that need to be made to continue to lift women up, at least in the illegal industry. What is sad to me is that statistic is unchanged over 4 decades. So despite the fact we've made such an improvement in our classroom statistics, we're not necessarily seeing that translate in the actual field, and that's true with construction, finance, legal, you name it. And so we have a lot of strides we're making, but seriously a long way to go. And so with that, the data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics shows that only about 13% of payroll employees in construction are women. And don't worry, I'm not going to be Debbie Downer. I'm going to get some good news too. When also taking into account self-employed workers, the proportion is even lower to just about 10.3%. However, a February 2022 report from Construction Converge says that some parts of the country, including Florida, that's what we're getting to, have much stronger female representation. And a big part of that is because of initiatives like Women Wednesdays and your gathering here and what you're doing to lift each other up. And they've analyzed employment data from the U.S. Census Bureau's 2019 American Community Survey one-year estimates, and researchers ranked cities based on the female employment share and the construction industry. So to get to our good news is that for small cities with populations of 150,000 or less, this next word pains me to say, being a triple graduate of Florida State, Gainesville, was, I know, I said the bad word, it's okay, was ranked in the top 15 at number 9. Females reportedly make up 24.1% of employment share of the construction industry in Gainesville. And so that's something we can be proud of for Alachua County, even if we disagree with their sports activities. For mid-sized cities with populations of 150,000 to 350,000, 4 Florida cities were in the top 15, including Tallahassee, at number 1, with women making up 30.8% of the employment share. That's just awesome. Pembroke Pines at number 2 with 29.3%, Cape Coral at number 4 with 24.1%, and Fort Lauderdale at number 6 with 22.5%. So you are seeing really great trends in certain cities and in certain markets. For large cities with populations over 350,000, Tampa ranked number 12, with women having 13.3% of the employment share in construction. So despite the fact there is this major gender gap, the major benefit for women in construction is that they tend to command higher wages than women in other fields. So again, we have a long way to go, but I also think there's really a lot to be proud of in terms of the strides that are being made in many fields, especially construction.
No, that is accurate. So let's follow up on that. You mentioned your colleague, and it's like, well, what is DEPR doing? What is the role they play in supporting women in these sort of opportunities? Like, what should we know? What actual programs are there?
So, and this, I cannot claim credit just for DBPR, but there are several agencies that work together on economic stimulation and job growth. So for instance, we work on the regulation side of business. The Department of Economic Opportunity really works on transitioning employees. So if you have an instance where you find yourself out of work, they work a lot with Career Source. Right now, following Hurricane Ian, they've done a lot to get people back in the workforce and create short-term work opportunities. So say that one of our licensed hoteliers is out of business right now in one of the impacted areas, then they've created opportunities for them to find meaningful work during this period. So that's just awesome. And then you have Enterprise Florida, which is responsible for developing business and bringing new businesses and headquarters here to our state, which they've been very successful at under the administration's policies under the last couple of years, which has been awesome to see. And so that's certainly something that we participated in. And there is a website, openmyfloridabusiness.gov.com or .org. And I apologize, I meant to look it up, but didn't realize I was playing on my phone over there. But point being is that you go to that website and you put in, I want to be, a construction worker, a cosmetologist, whatever it may be, and it will give you the information that you need to follow the path of, you need this license here, you need that license there, because it can be confusing. Let's say you register your business with the Florida Department of Corporations, but then depending upon what business you have, you also have to come over to us and get licensed, right, to be regulated. And then depending upon what you're doing, you may have yet another agency like the Department of Health or the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Affairs who actually does your annual inspection. And so even on the state level, unfortunately, it's not necessarily always one-stop shopping. And so that's really trying to distill the myth of who do you go to get the steps that you need to form your business. That's certainly one thing that we're really proud of and tout on our website. A second thing that we have done this year in particular is to really start not only regulating our licensees, but celebrating our licensees. Unfortunately, we're often looked at as, when people see me walk into their business, they're like, I had a 40-year vet and she just kind of threw her arms up and she's like, it's clean, we've done everything, we have our license. Anyway, and she's a really reputable veterinarian down in South Florida who already serves on one of our boards. I'm like, I am not here to shut you down. They would have sent an investigator, not the secretary. Anyway, but the thing is that, it's unfortunate that we're seeing only that light, because we really are here to help and certainly have that compassion, especially when our businesses may have trouble getting into compliance. Our first step is not usually, unless it's really bad action, to shut the person down. Oftentimes we do try and work with that business on how do they get into compliance with the laws in Florida and walk them through that. But with that, in terms of celebrating our business owners, we have been presenting proclamations to our various licensees who have reached major milestones, as well as had, there's no other way to say it, they're just badasses, right? So even if it's not your 40-year anniversary or 75-year anniversary, people are just contributing a lot to the community. And so with that, I would be remiss if I did not present one today. And so she has no idea this is happening, but Miss Kerwin Jones, if you don't mind. She had no idea. You're within one of the first, I would say, I'm not exactly sure how many we've given, but we just started this program in April, so you're amongst the first to receive this on behalf of the great state of Florida. Whereas Kerwin Jones Wilson, Quincy, Florida, I'm about to start crying with you. I'm like, we gotta get our acts together, sister. All All right, has served the Big Bend area as a certified residential contractor for 16 years and a licensed real estate salesperson for 1.5 years. And whereas Kerwin Jones Wilson is the owner and CEO of Jones Construction Design LLC. Yes, own it. You are a badass. And an active realtor. Yes, give her a round of applause. And an active realtor with eXp Realty. And whereas Kerwin Jones Wilson was the first woman to become a Florida certified master builder, which requires, yes, get another round of applause for that. Which requires its qualifications as having at least 7 years of work experience in the construction industry, having held a contractor license for at least 5 years, providing proof of workers' comp insurance and liability insurance, passing a reference check with a client satisfaction rating of at least 4 or higher on a scale of 1 to 5, being vetted and approved by the Florida Master Builder Certification Board, and amongst many other requirements. And whereas Kerwin Jones Wilson was the recipient of the 2022 Woman of Distinction Award at the Southeast Building Conference, the whole Southeast region. Yes, and whereas Kerwin Jones Wilson was the 2021 president of the National Association for Women in Construction Tallahassee chapter, as well as the charter founder of the Gadsden chapter of Future Builders of America, and treasurer for Community Economic and Development Corporation. And whereas Kerwin Jones Wilson is a how do I say that? Oh, I like that. Work, but the HER capitalized. Word. Yes, I'm gonna get it down. All right. Campaign coordinator with Women Wednesdays, where she coordinates training and job opportunities for women, minorities, and youth in construction and other skilled trades. And whereas Kerwin Jones Wilson works on the job site in her fabulous pink steel-toe boots. No man has those. No offense. Okay. Now, therefore, the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation hereby recognizes Kerwin Jones Wilson for her outstanding achievements throughout 16 years of service as a certified residential contractor and 1.5 years of service as a licensed real estate salesperson for the residents and visitors of the great state of Florida. Congratulations.
If we could just take a moment to give this a sample.
I'm so glad she's here to see that. I really like to encourage the young girls to be in construction. It's so fabulous thing.
Yes. So we're really proud of this. To finish answering your question, we're really proud of this program. It's one of the best ways we can lift people up, and one of the best parts of my job getting to surprise recipients like you. So just congratulations on everything you're doing.
And I know Tamara's gonna have a question. I think we can see it again, but Tamara, she's gonna have a question. I just want to say, Kerwin, I thank you from the bottom of my heart too. Kerwin is the real deal. She literally, for a long time, and nobody knows everything that she's doing. She is out there supporting children, women, so many people in construction. And so I really appreciate and honor you for honoring her. She's just so incredibly deserving. You're such a great thing. So this is a perfect time for Tamara to ask her question.
I don't know if Kerwin will think it's a perfect time. Well, the next question is for you. So if you can do this for us, you have so much to share with us. So we're just going to start with, can you tell us about, we heard about you. So can you tell us about your construction business and experiences and why you took the helm of tradeswork?
I am not a speaker, so and I'm really surprised. So thank you, everyone. I started out in construction, and I really didn't know that women couldn't do construction. I didn't know it was a thing that women didn't do construction because I grew up in construction. My father's a contractor. He was a masonry teacher at Gaston Vocational School. So every day from elementary school, I went and sat in the back of my dad's classroom. And I cleaned up, I played in masonry, I built walls. So I had no idea that being in construction was not a ladies thing, because that's all I did. But he made me go to school, so I went to Florida State. I'm a chemist. I don't use that. So right after I got my chemistry degree, because I had a scholarship and I wanted to use my scholarship. And I went right into being a contractor. I asked my dad, said, hey, do you want a partner? He said, no, you can open your own business. I'll support you. So I said, okay. So I got to get licensed. I did. And got my certifications and everything. Opened my business. I've been in business for about 16 years on my own. Before I trained with my father. So I can do tile, I can do roofing, I can do anything that a guy can do. And I can probably do better. But I tell my guys that I hire, I do custom residential. I tell them, if you see me riding my van and I come with my pink boots on and I got a hard hat and I'm ready to work, somebody is being fired that day. I should not be doing that. So they know that they don't want me to go to the van and get my pink tools out, because they know somebody's not getting paid that day. So I like to work with younger kids. I work with Future Builders of America, and I take those kids every year. This is construction, careers in construction month, and I work with Ms. Barbara. She's like, "What can we do?" I said, "I want to do something big." This is way bigger than what I wanted to do, but thank you. I just like to celebrate careers in construction, whether you're a carpenter, a welder, plumber, electrician. I just wanted all the ladies in the trades to get together and celebrate what we do, because we're just phenomenal. I mean, I'd rather, if I could hire a lady over a guy, Tyler, or mechanical person, electrician, I will. But we're so limited. So I want to get ladies more to say, hey, you can do this. We're here to support you. Come, I need you, because the guys that I have could be my papa right now. So I need younger people to come in and get into this trade and help me out build these houses for people, because we have a housing shortage. We need more houses, especially in Tallahassee. We are growing. And I need ladies to come and help me. I want to do an all-ladies house. I'm just waiting till I can get enough ladies that we can build an all-female house without any guys involved at all. And I'm hoping in the next couple of years that we can get that done. So I really thank you for coming out and supporting trades. Or if you have any questions, contact me or contact Ms. Barbara. We'll help you get your kind of pathway, whether you're in school now and you're ready to get licensed or you need construction-related mentors. Get with us, and then we'll help you get with Ms. Melanie, so you can get your license and get started in your business. So we thank you for your support.
Yeah.
I
was thinking the same thing.
She did great. You're amazing.
She was
I
so
just
shy
like
at
what I
City
do.
Hall, she wouldn't speak when I presented the proclamation.
You are.
I just like what I do. So as long as I'm talking about what I do, I'm pretty good.
It's all that matters.
Anything else?
It's all that matters.
Before I switch to ask somebody else a question, though, you are an inspirational speaker, and I think that you told us get more women, and you thought you wanted to go.
Come on. I do a lot of on-the-job training. Just come out and enjoy a day
I
with
need
me.
training because I don't even have any pictures of my husband because I
We can help you with
a
that.
lot of crap.
That's all right.
Anyways, switching over to Jackie. Jackie, can you tell us about your social media business and experiences and why you took the helm of your business's Blue?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Jackie Brown, and my business is Initial Social Media, and my focus is to help entrepreneurs and small business owners be like a megaphone for their brand, to get their brand out there. You're doing great things, you're passionate about something, but you may not be a social media expert. Kind of gets me hands raised there. So that's where I want to help. But I have an interesting history as we talk about TCC and the trades work business. Ages ago, while we were following my husband's corporate ladder, we lived in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where I taught fashion design, which is what my degree is in. at a community college. And it was so great to see all the people there taking a different path, not doing the traditional college. And they were just passionate about whether it was cosmetology, interior design, fashion design. We also had a section that did plumbing and the all the stuff that CCC does too, which was great. But that was really eye-opening for me. And so raising $2, I was like, you guys do not have to go to college, but you have to find your passion. And that's another thing I like to do with my business is support business owners who have found their passion, but they need to get the marketing piece done. So that's what I like to do. And one of the things that Barbara has created with her business is blooming is to do just that. Is tell us what you're doing in your business. We want to help you promote that. We want to get your name out there, make connections, vital connections that could be a mentor for you or support, or maybe it's somebody who has an accounting business and you need an accountant. So let's make those connections because even though this is a small town, a lot of people still are missing that connection to help their business grow and help them thrive. So that's what I want to do here.
Right, and it really kind of goes back to what you said, like, forgiving the art of adding and being a champion. Mm-hmm. And I think that's, what we want to do with our businesses, we will just be a champion. Because, again, who are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs? Women! Right. So, we're so glad to have you.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. And the women in construction, the homes that my husband and I have gotten together, we always bought something that needed some love and attention, right? We had some of those. I love to tile, I love to paint, I love that interior design stuff. It was never an issue for me growing up. My dad would always ask me to help him, even though I have an older brother. He didn't have the patience for it. And so my dad would be under this beam trying to fix something, and I would hand him the hammer, then I'd hand him the nail. He's like, you see what I need before I ask you for it. And I'm like, well, I'm paying attention. I don't.
That's something we asked on Facebook here. So we were asking as you were growing up, were you introduced, like say do-it-yourself stuff around the home, or just that early thing of just like you said with your dad, just automatically being introduced to these things. So by a show of hands, how many people feel like they were, let's do the opposite, how many people feel like they really weren't given those skill sets because they were a girl or a woman? Does anybody feel like they kind of lost out on that a little bit?
I'll add something to that. I was encouraged as a child to learn all of these things so I wouldn't have to depend on anyone to do them. But as I got older, I feel like the narrative switched. And it was like, well, if you do all of these things, it defines you somehow, and it may not be favorable anymore. So I feel like growing up, I got the chances to learn how to change the tire and hammer a nail and build all the do-it-yourself furniture that now IKEA is famous for, which I really don't enjoy doing anymore. But I think as we get older, and I think I've seen that when I used to be a teacher as well, as we get older, it seems like, it's not as popular anymore. It's not as encouraged anymore. So that was one of the things that we wanted to kind of ask Kerwin, because she talked about how it did not seem strange to her at all. What advice could you give people who are trying to encourage women and girls to stay on that path once they've been introduced to it?
I guess the best advice I can give is just if you're passionate to do it, you want to build that table, find some YouTube instruction and build your table. If you need other help, call Women in Construction, or just call someone who can help you. Don't give up on that set dream. If you want to do welding, if you want to do plumbing, seek out, because we do that Gadsden Technical College, they got Lively, we got TCC. Find a program that best fits you, and then find a mentor. We're all over. Just seek us out, call me, call somebody, and we'll connect you with the right person that you can shadow, maybe do some on-the-job training. Just don't give up and don't believe the guy that says you can't do it.
On that as well, I think that part of the reason I'm in and out on raising my hand is that my background, my parents were divorced when I was really young, and it was just me and mom growing up my whole life. And so I don't have the skilled trade background because there was no male figure, and not that it has to be a male at all. But point being is that for the first part of, I have a 4-year-old, and for the first part of his life, even though I've been married almost 14 years, my husband was the one who traveled a lot more for work. And so my son and I spent a lot of time together. And what I realized through that is that children are naturally interested in whatever the parent they're with are doing. So, my son, if he loves makeup his whole life, that's awesome. I don't necessarily have any reason to believe he will, other than he's 3, 4. If he doesn't necessarily have an affinity to it, other than that's what his mom's doing, that's what's cool. And so he loves to cook. And where I'm going with this is that I went to go buy him a little like chef's hat and apron, and the only color option was very limited. Was orange and blue. Now y'all heard how I feel about apron. You think I was about to buy him an orange and blue apron set? I was not, by the way. But it made me realize everything else was pink. And it was in that moment that it hit me, and I'm somewhat joking, but I'm like, we don't need women in STEM or in construction, we need men in the kitchen. And what I mean by that is, I think that the yin to your yang, and that's why I want to add on to this, is that I totally agree with you. We do need women in STEM, of course. We do need women in construction. But the counterpart of that is that men are then at a very early age discouraged if they play with certain things or identify as, just like we are discouraged from the male gender things, men equally are discouraged from things that are often identified as women gender, even though the majority of Michelin chefs are male. So why cooking is female, I don't know. But anyway, back to the point is that I do think that the counterpart of this is encouraging men to also pursue their passions, and the more we can blur those gender lines and make everything gender neutral, I think it also propels then women in their chosen profession.
Yes. I think that's an excellent point. I really do. Yeah, I like that. And then, okay, so we have a question here, so let me just double check on the name. So you know what we're trying to accomplish, and I think we all agree this is really important. So like, what kind of advice do you have for us on, what is it we should be doing to continue the momentum, get more women in the skilled trades, and support our women-owned businesses? And what kind of advice do you have for us? We're going to make this happen.
I think a big part of it is a lot of things we've already touched on. I think one is that if you see someone who has that aptitude, tell them they're awesome, not just think they are awesome, but that is your superpower, is to actually create a positive change in this world. So, for me, that was someone who identified the skill set in me, and but for them saying it, I would not be sitting here with you today. I'm not saying I wouldn't have found my way to public service eventually, but it would not have been today. Second is that use the power of social media and work with Jackie. I mean, as you know, this is really something that has put people on an equal playing field. You don't have to be a large industry or have a large budget. You just have to be interesting, honestly, on TikTok, or Snapchat or whatever it is, and to have a good cultivated message. And the more that you talk about, again, one of the things we can do, I think, to blur those gender lines or to create the mantra that women, deserve and belong in this profession and are leading it, is for people to see the other counterpart, right? So like for me, I went to the construction industry licensing board meeting about a month ago, and I was so excited to see minorities and women, because there was a part of me that was concerned that I was only going to see white males there. And it was so refreshing to see that wasn't the case. And so the more that people can identify women as, this is what you look like, post the picture of you and your awesome pink boots and pink tools and make it cool, right? And that goes viral. And I promise you that that's the thing that makes it cool in the industry, right?
Yeah. Commissioner Richardson, I wondered if you had any question or comments that you wanted.
Well, I think the only thing I would add is I like what the superintendent is doing in the school district. He is now, because when I was at Lively, I think we had 2 career and technical programs. There was a construction program at Rock, and then we had a nursing program at Rickards, and now he is expanding those programs. When we went to Greenville, South Carolina, Madam Secretary, I was so impressed. In their school district, they have feeder schools starting in elementary school, and they feed to middle school and high school, and then they have community college where you can get training in a particular area starting as early as elementary school. I've always wanted to see us explore that. here in, it works in Greenville. I don't know why other people aren't using that example, but so that's what we've got to do. We've got to get kids exposed to all of the opportunities that are out there for them in whatever profession, career, or trade they might be interested in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so what about for women, like, is there an age limit? You know, what about you, you know, you have your kids and you're gonna, say, okay, what am I gonna do now, or just whatever, can you both speak to that? At any age, can you start to develop a career in the trades or start a business?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I can take Miss Barbara because she would be great over a team, and I need supervisors.
I've seen her put up flashing. She did.
Yeah, but at any age in construction, we can find something for you to do. So it's not just being out there swinging the hammer. I need people in offices. I mean, we have doctors that work in construction fields. They do all of my when the guys get hurt in their OSHA, I have to send them to the doctor at workers' comp. So it's not just the person that's out there in the trade. It's all of the related fields that comes along with it as well. So don't think that because you're retired and you're over a certain age that you can't work in construction. You can, and we need you.
Yeah,
So
and you
go
can
ahead.
go through, like, I'm just thinking like in live and TCC, I mean, there's so much opportunity for training to get into this incredible
Yes, it is.
field, so.
Apprenticeship programs or,
You know, if they're, say you're 35, 44, I mean, it's not too late. It's
Well, I was to add on to that, there was a study done by the American Bar Association that, again, while it was specifically done for lawyers, I think is analogous to many industries. And the reason they conducted the study a few years ago is that they found that women were leaving the profession in droves in more towards like their 40s and 50s. And the reason they were so perplexed by this phenomenon is that usually by the point in time where you're that age in the legal industry, and again, in most industries, you become either a partner or a leader or some type of reason that you would want to stay. So they thought, why would women at the height of their earning, at the height of their managerial potential, why would they be leaving? And so they conducted the study, but I think it goes to show you that you talked about women being the #1 rainmaker, entrepreneur, getting out there. I think women are finding other ways to be satisfied these days, and they realize they don't necessarily have to be handcuffed to whatever it is they initially selected for their career. And so with that, I mean, you certainly have women in many industries who are taking that leap. I know myself, I was an equity shareholder and ran a branch and realized, a few years ago, that was not the way I was going to change the world. I was a great lawyer. There are a lot of great lawyers. I had a unique skill set to help people and, did a 180 and for a while made stationery. And people are like, why would you go from being an equity partner to making stationery? But it was so fulfilling to use my brain in a different way for a while and to do something else. And so like you said, I think there's always ways you can keep pivoting and changing and figuring things out.
And can you expand on that? Because you say your website, I didn't go on your website to check it out, but I think it's just neat to go and look and see if somebody can tell us a little bit about spread your son. Can you tell us about that too?
Yeah, so for me, I had such a passion for mentoring that it became a second full-time job. And so really wanted a way to better reach a broader audience and to share those questions that were asking me frequently to a big audience. And so we on the website have several blog articles, including regarding mentorship, how to facilitate those relationships on both sides as the mentor and mentee. And then ultimately also wanted to be able to lift people up. And so we have positivity cards and stationery that all have sayings like, congratulations, sunshine, you totally rock, or with love and sunshine, your #1 fan. And really just wanted a way to lift up others. And what's remarkable to me is the number of people who will receive such a message and you think they're at the height of your game. So say you send something to Kerwin after this, and what I found the majority of the time when someone would respond is they didn't necessarily say, thank you for recognizing how awesome I am, even though that is why I was sending the message. A lot of times they would say, thank you for sending that because I didn't see it in myself, or I was actually reaching a low point. And so, I'm sure Kerwin, as distinguished of a career as you've had over 16 years plus, there've been some really tough moments where people didn't see the sausage being made, but it was true, isn't always easy, right? And so your ability to lift up others, I think is just amazing. I want people to be able to have the tools to do that.
Yeah, it's interesting because that's something you brought into your role as secretary.
Right,
Being a champion. and
Yes.
recognizing it. Yeah.
right, yeah.
That's really, really cool. Okay, well, so do you have any questions? Do you have anything that you want to ask? You don't? And what about anybody else?
Does the audience have any
That's the
questions?
next thing, is to
Yeah.
ask our audience. So Caroline?
Secretary, that's very interesting. I was just watching on my son loves to cook, and his wife is the one who paints the house.
Awesome, yes.
Fixes the windows and the framing and all that. She teaches him how to do his thing. Teach him how to cook. So they split their class that way, and they learn from each other. Such a like.
Yes, no, thank you for sharing that. I love that.
And then it's really important to not stay in traditional, old, antiquated, whatever lanes. I mean, life is short. What are you passionate about? What do you like? What will make you feel fulfilled? And find people to support you in that.
And not being stuck in a role, because I'm not a cook. I don't really like to cook. I don't want to cook. Like, I don't cook for anybody, male or female. To be driven into a particular way that doesn't fit for you, right? You know, and I think again, I really love that point you made. If more people were allowed to follow who they truly are, then it frees us up to follow in the direction they stay.
And having mentors see that in you, like you had, or talk with somebody and say, I really don't think that you really want to be a dentist. I think you want to be a construction mogul. So yeah, it's good to have a mentor. Any other thoughts or questions? Let's go right ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is T. Thompson. I am a entrepreneur in the construction industry. Thank you. I'm actually preparing for a pivot, so I'm taking in a lot of the, affirmations and tools about how to change your career. I think, like many you said up on the panel, being a woman comes with other challenges that men don't have, especially when you have wifehood and you have children. Those things definitely impact how you can pivot. So I want to ask a question about preparing for the construction industry in terms of where can we go for support when we're trying to get our general contractor's license? Because like you said, Madam Secretary, it's like you get one thing done, but then there's somebody else, and there's somebody else, and there's somebody else. So it's kind of hard to prep, whereas if you're in a four-year college, your whole trajectory is kind of written out for you right there. But it's not like that when you're pursuing your general contractor's license. So if I could get some support, and maybe other people in the room may need it as well, to kind of where do you go to get it laid out for you?
Well, we have the chapter here, the National Association of Women in Construction. Join that group. It's a group of professional ladies in all the type of business trades, and we'll welcome you. And we'll set you up with a mentor and kind of guide you into what you need for your general contractor's license. Because it's not just taking the test. I would suggest that you kind of shadow someone or go to work with them, because you need to have that experience. And unfortunately for a woman, when I go into a building, I have to prove that I am what I am. I have to give 200% with my counterparts. They just took the test and they can skate by. But I have to go above and beyond to prove that I know what I'm talking about. So I would suggest you mentor with someone, do some shadowing, work on some construction sites, and then all the while prep yourself for the test, because you're gonna need that background, the trades, and the business part to take the general contractor test. But it can be done. It's super easy. Just come and talk to us and we'll get you set up.
Okay, thank you so much.
And that would be my advice to going and having worked in analogous industries, is that a mentor is going to lay that out. Really, male mentors, I think it's important to have both, have been so wonderful in my careers in different ways. I think that some of your female groups will give you the moon, right? Because they want you to also join the club, so to speak, right? So they'll give you that. The other thing, more on the business side too, the business we don't mention, is the Small Business Administration. So they're not going to be specific in terms of general contractors, but in terms of the business resources, like either just how to get set up, how-to guides, and/or grant funding that's available, that type of thing is going to be available on the SBA's website.
Thank you.
And they put out a really good magazine. just recently that said, if you have this business, you should do this, and you turn pay. If you have this business, you should do this. So they've got really good laid out resources.
And offices, small business administration, and they have, so it's not just a national business administration federal program, but they have local offices in most Florida cities, so you'd be able to connect with them.
And I would imagine too, the Small Business Development Center through Florida A&M University, Latanya, that would be the same type of resource.
Yeah.
I'm taking it all in. Thank you.
There was a question back there as well.
Green
Okay.
shirt.
Are you together?
Oh, yeah. All right, I just wanted to it's not more of a question, but more of a statement. I wanted to piggyback on the fact that, you guys mentioned that we're talking about, you getting into the construction field or in general the trades field. It was really more of your experience. And I just wanted to piggyback and say a lot of the female students that we have in some of our programs with workforce development, it's because they've had that relationship with someone who is also doing it. Or I'm also seeing where their partner is in that field and they want to do it too. And so they see it as a family unit and they see it where they can progress and make an earning together, which will then lead them in the future to their own business. So there is a process and mindset and vision for these women coming into these careers. Secondly, when you talk about recruitment, I lost my train of thought. I'm still it was a good one too.
Yes. Do you want to go to the woman in the green and then we'll come back to you?
Hello everyone, my name is Renee Williams. I am the Rapid Response Coordinator for Commercial Capital Region. I am so excited that I came today because one of the biggest industries I've been missing have been women as well as the trade industry. My specific duty is to assist employers with layout diversion strategies and assist them if they have business closures, as well as manage them if they are going to be closing or if they are going to have to be laying employees off. Some of the strategies that we use, you mentioned today, on-the-job training as well as apprenticeship and professional development training. So I want to be able to connect with all the ladies in here, especially you two, specifically because we have grants available to pay for the on-the-job training. It's a grant reimbursement, so if you bring on a new hire and you are training them on the job in an industry, in demand industries like construction, trade, things like that, graphic design, you have chefs, executive chefs on there or administrative assistants on there. We will reimburse anywhere from 50 to 75% of that training, those training dollars that were spent on that person, as well as if you have current staff members. So if you got a team of people right now that you want to upscale them, we have grants available that will reimburse that upscaling to get them trained. And whatever profession that is needed, if you have someone on staff that wants to train them, if you want to send them to Ms. Jones to be able to train, if you want to send them to DC, if you want to send them anywhere, the grant will reimburse whoever is training them, wherever it's being trained at, as long as it's a credible source. So please definitely connect with me. I want to be able to set up apprenticeship opportunities and other funding that we have available at the Commercial Capital Region for women just like all of you.
Thank you. Women Wednesdays is about.
Let's come back to it. She got, her thought came back.
Okay, so we're talking about how, just for those young ladies who don't know or who don't have that relationship and that experience, it's important for us to share those success stories. Like we just talked about social media, different things of that nature. We should be seeing more and more success stories of what you all are doing, what's out there, even for us with some of our female students, just pushing it out there so they can see, going back to TikTok, Instagram, all of that. If they see it, because they're not exposed to it, it will then put a light bulb in their head and say, hey, I really can do this. So if more women are willing to, because I know like me sometimes, I don't want to be on TV, I don't want to be on social media, anything like that. But if we feel comfortable with putting ourselves out there, sharing our stories, it will open the door in the minds of those individuals who just don't know.
And that's part of what your business is blooming wants to do, is to tell your stories that gives you a social media package, a video, some content, things like that, but also shares with our city what you are, what you're doing, and to encourage other women that, yeah, you can do this. I don't care what age you are, I don't care what color you are, I don't care if you have one leg, just go do it. You're passionate about it.
And that's when again, that's something like our three things with Women Wednesdays, we want to build collaboration, knowledge, and visibility. I think that getting visibility is no small thing. It is, you have to put yourself out there.
We have one more question.
Hi, I'm Edna McMillan. I do community service outreach programs. And I wanted to know, I often come in contact with persons that are either returning from being incarcerated or has had in their past an incident, in which they have a charge. And I wanted to know how, is there a barrier for those women that are coming in construction, and as far as, and in addition, as to the access to the training money for those persons also?
It's no barrier at my job sites. If they're doing the job, I'm paying. So, send them over to us, and if we can connect with the training.
That's a perfect candidate right there. If people that have barriers, we have a program that we're working on right now called Construction Ready. And most of the people that are currently working on the Jacksonville Stadium and doing the renovations at the Jacksonville Stadium are hired through Construction Ready. They're using the Career Source Northwest Jacksonville, their version of the Career Capital Region, our sister office in Jacksonville. And there are people with barriers fresh out of jail. They went through a 6 to 12 week training program. There's everything part of construction. They got an OSHA certification, and they are building right now at the Jacksonville Stadium, getting paid. The only downfall is that first 6 to 8 weeks you're not getting paid, but you're getting hands-on training to learn how to do the duties. And once you're done, they're going to get you hired. People with barriers are what we need because they're always the ones that are overlooked. And at Career Source Capital Region, we act as that third party liaison. We're going to have that direct communication with that employer to be able to vet and say, they're in our program, they're doing this, this, and this. Will you please give them a chance?
Yeah. Even with getting licensed, because I know we're talking about workers, but even if they, not every offense or there's been a certain length of time, and we can get you the specifics on that, is going to be a barrier.
I can just add to Renee. So on top of that, outside of directly going to an employer, Career Source Capital Region provides general funding for eligible individuals for a whole list of programs that's offered in the various institutions here in Tallahassee. Live, TCC, FAMU, FSU. And a lot of those are trade jobs. So if individuals such as those from former incarcerated, if they're looking for potential training in those fields, they can go to Career Source Capital Region to see if they're eligible, and then there's a process to become eligible and get funding. It covers all tuition, training, uniforms, books, all of those things. And so really it's reducing the barrier that they might have, not every barrier, but it's reducing those barriers that they might have coming in.
And is there an age limit?
So typically we work with 16 and 24 will be our youth department. Anyone who's over 24 or if they do not qualify in the 16 to 24 range, then would be considered an adult. You can be an 18 or 19-year-old and be an adult, the adult program, because you might not have some metrics on the 16. But if you don't have a GED, we'll help you get that. We even work with the TRIO program over at FAMU. But it's all about the resources. So when we, myself, aren't able to do it, I will connect you. I connect the dot the I's, cross the T's, connect you to the resources that you did and did not know you need. So I will place you in contact with who in our community can assist you for what might be missing. And we send people to Jessup all the time through the CDL course, the cybersecurity course. Like these are resources that we have to be able to connect you with. And it's free.
So is your program limited also?
Well, I know who I'm gonna sign up to be on.
Yeah, absolutely. And remember, ladies, you'll have the opportunity, please use your time afterward. I know some of you will have to go, but use your time to connect as well, because I'm sure there are a lot more questions for Renee back there. But before we wrap up for today, what should be our next, and this is to our speakers up here, what should be our next action for impact? I heard, and I'm always taking notes. If you've seen me on Women Wednesdays on camera looking down, usually taking notes. But I've heard use your power of words by lifting up each other. I heard a lot about mentorship. I heard a lot about using your experience to show others that it's possible. I've heard use your power of influence, maybe through social media, by being the visual that women and girls need to see in order to see that this is an option for me, a pivot is possible. So what are some of the next action steps that we can take to make sure we are impacting the trades, industry and opportunities for women and girls?
Well, one of the things that I found, not just in the construction area or career and technical fields, but in social services as well, people just don't know about the resource. I had never heard of these programs at Career Source. People just don't know about the resources that are out there. So if there's a way, and I don't know exactly, I don't have a blueprint for making it happen. I wish I did, but how we can get that kind of information out to people so they know where the resources are that can help them. A lot of people just don't know where but they don't even know where to start, let alone knowing where all the resources are.
If everyone here posted that you came to Women Wednesday and found whatever thing helpful, that is sharing information in your circle and then the cross circles and then just so.
But also figuring out who can get together and collaborate.
Right.
To just share knowledge and collaborate. Something to add or-
No, I was actually thinking sharing resources. I mean, wow, what a powerful group this is. So thank you for putting it together.
Thank you so much. Okay, well, I think we've come in, and let me tell you, first and foremost, thank you so much. Really honor us. You're very busy. Can we just give you a round of applause? You're always there for us. You're so helpful. This is your first time, you may not know this. Do you know that we're on a mission to make Tallahassee a #1 city for women? So if you go back and look.
I believe it.
Yeah. So one of the things we do, and for others, if this is your first time here, we take a picture. We're gonna have everybody come down and all come together and we're gonna take a picture of saying we're gonna be the #1 city for women. So do you mind if we have everybody come down here and take a picture? We'd like you to be in the middle of it.
Thank you, everyone who joined us online. We hope you'll join us again next week, Wednesday. We'll be same time, same place. Thank you.